but it knocked me down, but I'm going to keep coming back up.
It's a television show, like this is a television show.
All right, so last night was the debate between John Fetterman, Democratic candidate, and Mehmet Oz, Republican candidate for Senate in Pennsylvania. And I'm going to go over some of the highlights, some of the lowlights, and also my take on all of this, as well as a recent attack ad that just came out that Fetterman released on Oz, highlighting a key moment in this debate. So first up here, I think it's important to play Fetterman's opening remarks here around the elephant in the room, and that is his recovery, his continuing recovery from his stroke, which clearly had an impact on his speech during this debate. So let's watch that.
And let's also talk about the elephant in the room. I had a stroke. He's never let me forget that. And I might miss some words during this debate, mush two words together, but it knocked me down, but I'm going to keep coming back up. And this campaign is all about, to me, is about fighting for everyone in Pennsylvania that ever got knocked down, that needs to get back up, and fighting for all forgotten communities all across Pennsylvania that also got knocked down, that needs to get back up.
All right, so several more clips to get to here, but first, just on Fetterman appearing at this debate at all. You have to give the guy credit. I think most people in his situation still struggling, still recovering from a stroke like this, knowing that millions of people are going to be watching this, for him to have the guts to go up there and participate in this debate, for him to show up, means a lot. And, you know, initially I thought this may hurt him terribly because of his obvious lack of performance in this debate, but I actually think it could in some ways help him. I'm going to show you an example of how it helped him in the hours after the debate in a second here. But, you know, a lot of people struggle with health issues. And seeing a man like this be human, be relatable, and struggling with those issues while still going out there because he feels like he needs to participate in this debate and give his piece, even though he can't do it in the way that he wishes he can do it, it shows amazing heart. And there's a potential here, if people are good, that this will actually help him in some way. And again, this is all performance, right? Like, debates are all about performance, spectacle. It doesn't change his positions. It doesn't change Oz's positions. These candidates are who they are. Their history is what it is. That's what actually matters here. So for Oz or for Fetterman to show up knowing this is about spectacle, knowing he's not going to perform that well and still do it, I think it shows amazing character. Now, on the way that it actually helped him, so Fetterman campaign says it raised $1 million in 3 hours after rough debate with Oz. So that is incredible. So, you know, who knows if that's new people coming in or not, but to have his supporters show up like that in this debate to show that they are with him is, I think, a great thing. Now let's get to resting fraud face, Dr. Oz. This his smug face the entire time. This is the face of a snake oil salesman, as we will get to in his history. So this the first question here, this is about him being a quack doctor. Look at his initial response, and then I'll get to eventually when he actually answered the question. But here is this incredible rambling.
But you've been criticized even by some fellow physicians for promoting, quote, unproven, ill-advised, and at times potentially dangerous treatments. What is your response to that? You have 60 seconds.
One of the great blessings of traveling around Pennsylvania is you run into people who have watched the show. They thank me very much for giving them life-saving advice on chronic issues like high blood pressure or dealing with their anxiety. Senator, give people the power. Let them make decisions for their well-being. Now, John Fetterman's approach to health, he embraced this with Bernie Sanders, who he endorsed. The two candidates called themselves the two most progressive people in America. It's a disaster, and it puts people at risk. So I don't believe we should allow socialized medicine. John Fetterman, make him too extreme.
Look at how slippery this snake is. No answer at all to the question. People love the show. I go around this country. We don't need socialized medicine. He's like Bernie Sanders. We asked you about the doctors that have said you are a quack. Do you have a response to that? So he has to be asked the question again. And here is his response.
Did you or your company make a profit from promoting those products? You have 30 seconds.
I never sold weight loss products as described in those commercials. It's a television show, like this is a television show, so people can run commercials on the shows, and that's a perfectly appropriate and very transparent process. I ruffled a lot of feathers on my show because I told people the truth, and I'm proud of that. I'll do the exact same thing as a U.S. Senator.
All right, so I got more clips coming up, including a Fetterman highlight, but told people the truth. Dr. Oz claims he told people the truth, yet he himself admitted in Congress that the weight loss products he touts don't pass scientific muster. There is video of him saying this. He admitted it. If you want a bigger breakdown, I'll link to the CNN piece below the video. Doctors calling for the firing of Dr. Oz because of the quack that he is. This guy, this isn't simply about commercials. He used his platform, the respect that he had built with his audience, them trusting him. He used that and took advantage of them to sell them garbage to make him a lot of money. That shows you the kind of person Dr. Oz is. It goes completely to character, what he values, him, himself, his own money, that's it. It's disgusting. And the idea that he has even been able to get this far shows you the complete breakdown in society. That someone like this can run for Senate, can actually be a candidate, while all of this is out in the open in his history. He admits to lying, admits to screwing people to make money. It's really gross. But now let's get to the next topic here. This is both their positions on abortion, and they could not be more different.
I want women, doctors, local political leaders, letting the democracy that's always allowed our nation to thrive, to put the best ideas forward so states can decide for themselves. Contrast that with my opponent, John Fetterman.
But if you believe that the choice for abortion belongs between you and your doctor, that's what I fight for.
All right, so I got a Fetterman attack ad coming up because he used this moment against Oz, as he should, because here you have Fetterman understanding that abortion is a decision between you and your doctor. Dr. Oz, though, he thinks it's between you, your doctor, and your local political leaders. Because you know when you break your leg, you go down to the doctor, see what he thinks, and then you go down to your mayor's office and get his opinion. This whole discussion on the right is so completely insane. Other countries treat abortion as a medical procedure because that's what it is. You can look at the history of how abortion wasn't even an issue 50 years ago. They created this to specifically to target certain individuals and get their vote. This was never a problem, never a major discussion. Abortion was normalized until they used it, until the right used it politically. It really is gross, but you see the end result of that. Rights now being stripped away this year because of the conservative Supreme Court, and you have a very clear choice here. One side actually understands that this is a decision between doctors and women, and the other side thinks that they get to decide for you. It really is gross. But let me get to Fetterman's attack ad now. So he released this morning using this moment.
This is who Dr. Oz wants in charge of women's healthcare decisions.
I want women, doctors, local political leaders, local political leaders, local political leaders.
Oz would let politicians like Doug Mastriano ban abortion without exceptions, even in cases of rape, incest, or life of the mother. Oz is too extreme for Pennsylvania.
I'm John Fetterman, and I approve this message.
So really good, I think, on Fetterman's campaign to utilize that moment, having a clear division between their two positions. Now let me get to the last clip that I want to share from this debate. And this was, I think, the highlight of the night. And, you know, it's not saying a lot, I guess, because there weren't many highlights here. But Fetterman brings up the fact that Oz keeps using or trying to use Bernie Sanders against him, which I've discussed many times. It's so stupid on its face because of how popular Bernie Sanders is. He's been voted the most popular senator 11 years in a row. That's from Morning Consult. Yet you're going to attach him to the guy you want to beat? Anyways, putting that aside, here is Fetterman's response to this attack line from Oz.
He keeps talking about Bernie Sanders. You know, 3 years ago, he was on his show and he hugged him and he said, "I love this guy. You know what? Why don't you pretend that you live in Vermont instead of Pennsylvania and run against Bernie Sanders?"
So this was a great moment, and this is something I've highlighted on this channel before. The idea of Oz using Bernie against Fetterman, which, as I said before, already dumb for other reasons, but also dumb because he had Bernie on his show discussing a range of topics, including Americans going bankrupt over medical bills. Meanwhile, Oz is claiming that Fetterman's too extreme like Bernie Sanders. Why would you have an extremist on your show, Oz? Again, going to the dishonesty that is inherent within Oz. It's all about a chase for power. That's all he cares about. It's disgusting. But look, playing basketball too, having a good time. Just this. Oh my God. Oz is up there with like Ted Cruz in terms of just the level of fraudster we are dealing with here. Last thing worth mentioning, I saw this tweet, made me laugh. Sawyer Hackett here says, Dr. Oz kills 300 plus puppies, mocks stroke victims, makes millions selling bogus products, gives speech in front of Hitler's car, admits to tasting his own urine. Political media. Fetterman needs to prove in tonight's debate that he's fit for office. So all of this is true. You can look any of this up. Go to Google, type in Oz, type in any of this stuff. You will find the stories. It is insane. I've covered some of them. But the idea that there should be questions around Fetterman, meanwhile Oz is the one that's done all this shit, I just hope people are able to see through the bullshit. But we're going to have to see what the impact of this debate will be.